So I'll just briefly introduce the program.
ठीक.
Faqir Sayyid Saifuddin will speak about the coming of Nastaliq to the subcontinent. So, and he's bought, he has a, maybe his collection is better than the museum collection, their family collection. So he's brought some.
Better than museum.
So he'll tell you himself what the concept is, but I think he's brought some 6 ustads, their works historically down the centuries. And then our teacher at Hastani, Sayyid Sajid Abbas Naqvi Sahab, will give us a demonstration because he has an ijaza in the Lahori Nastaliq from Ustad Irfan Ahmad Khan Sahab. And he has also learned Irani Nastaliq from Ustad
Nasir Jawahir.
So he knows that should be interesting as a demonstration. And then our honored guest from Islamabad, Rashid Bhatt Sahab, will just talk about current situation and what his, as an Ustad, how he looks upon these two styles. He has a unique view upon them, which I think will be very interesting, and a creative view as to how to go forward. And I should also introduce one of Lahore's leading master calligraphers, Wajid Mahmood Yaqut Raqam. It's an honor to have you here, and we'll also hear his comments in the conversation, I'm sure. He just wrote a Bismillah downstairs, which you can just keep looking at, I think, for hours. Wo kidhar gayi? Oh, some student came, just wrote it for her. Just like amazing.
Actually, I was prepared my lecture in Urdu, basically. Yeah. So I was thinking that the audience around here will be Urdu, and it will be fun to explain in their own language. So let me introduce you myself, as Mr. Taimur has given the introduction of me. Basically, I am the student of art history. I am not the artist. I can't draw a single straight line. So, between two dots, the curve is my straight line. But I can explain art. Today, I had some plans. So I was talking to Mr. Taimur. Mr. Taimur, why don't I give a history of calligraphy that we should all know about it? So it was a wonderful idea. Nastaliq, Nast and Taliq. So I brought some of the best specimens from my collection. It starts from Khat-e Kufi. 2 rare pages of Holy Quran, which is written in 730 AD. So I brought 2 specimens of rare Holy Quran, which was written in 730 AD. I'd like to give you the story about what happened when Quran was, जिसको कहेंगे हुजूर के दिल पे जब उतारा गया, उसके बाद it was a need to write somewhere. So there were many calligraphists around the world in those days. Most of them, they were from European side, like Egypt and all these places. And some of the artists from Kufa, they adopted this beautiful script, which is known as Kufic. So basically, Kufi script is not the Kufi script, because the artists of Kufa, they were writing in this script. And when it was a need to write a Quran, that was in Kufic script. So what happened? Let me show you by the first specimen. This is Mr. Taimur asked me to do the PowerPoint projection, but I have my access to my antiques, so I prefer to bring the original items so you can learn from the original items. So this is done in 730 AD, 100 years after the Holy Prophet. And mind you, this script of Quran was established for 400 years. There was a council of Quran in the Caliph's time, and they approved this script, and this script was never being changed for 400 years. So anybody can read this Arabic script, and it was order of the government that Quran is going to be written on the deer skin. This is a deer skin. So can I keep this down? So this is something very rare. I'm
If you can give it to me, I can take care of it.
Oh no, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So for 400, just imagine, for 400 years, this Quran was written in this kind of script. Arab can read it, and Ajmis cannot read it. This is the major problem. You hardly have the hard copy of Quran in those days. So they used to keep this Quran like this. So you don't have the hard copies in those days. If Lahore needs a Quran, so they wrote an application to the council. Council will send the Quran along with their, the muhafiz of Quran. They come to Lahore, they stay in the Bashi Mosque, let's say, and they will recite the Quran to you and you will learn it. You cannot make a hard copy in those days.
You are forbidden.
जी नहीं, जरा आप बात गौर से सुने. You were not allowed to have a hard copy. Hard copy is going to give only and only by the council of Arab. और आज भी वो council है, तो हार्ड कॉपी नहीं होती थी. तो कुरान आप तक पहुंचा ज़बानी, ओरली. अच्छा, ये नहीं है कि उस जमाने में 400 साल के अंदर और स्क्रिप्ट नहीं आए हैं. ज़ेर ज़बर भी शुरू हो गए, एराब भी शुरू हो गए. इट वॉज देयर. सो व्हाट हैड हैपन, कुरान को सिर्फ आपने ऐसे लिखना है. This was the rule.
For the Quran, there were other scripts for other purposes.
There were other scripts for other purposes. We can have very fine books in those days. I've got a book of Jamia Jafar, which is written by Imam Zainul Abidin. Oh, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. Sorry. And that is the early, slightly modern Kufi. It has Zair Zabar Pesh on it and slightly different than Quran. When we talk about the 10th century Quran, 9th century Quran, it should be like this. मेरी बात का मकसद ये है कि आप ज़रा एक चीज़ समझें. अब मैं आपको, I'm going to tell the story. What story I'm going to tell you. What happened here? आपके घर कुरान कैसे पहुंचा? You have the hard copies at your home, which you recites. आपके बच्चे पढ़ते हैं, आपके माँ बाप ने पढ़ा है और आपने भी सीखा है. ये कैसे पहुंचा? ये पहुंचा है इब्न मुकला से. बट साहब इजाजत है कि मैं दुनिया के सबसे बड़े आर्टिस्ट का जिक्र जरूर कर लूं, और ये हमारे बच्चे नौजवान सीखें जरा इस बात से. When we write about Ibn Muqla on Google, what we see his political history. कि 3 दफा he's been prime minister, 3 times he was behind the bars,
3 different caliphs.
3 different caliphs. One time the caliph chopped his hand. He started practicing with the chopped hand. He used to tie up the kalam on the chopped hand and start writing, and he writes better than the original hand. So this is the history of Ibn Muqla. So I'm not talking about the history of Ibn Muqla, political history. I'm going to tell you the art history of Ibn Mukhlar, which is very, very interesting. Are you interested to listen it? Sure. Sure. Ibn Mukhlar के बारे में ये बात मशहूर है, कि when he comes out from his hujra, people start praising him like anything. They touch the feet of Ibn Mukhlar. They took the clay of his slippers and put it on their head. So Ibn Mukhlar was mathematician.
Need to be 5, 6, 7 different, ulum. He was the expert.
He was the very fine mathematician.
Yeah.
He was the master of mantak. He was the master of tafsir. He was the master of many other things, He was a very fine carpenter, and he loves music.
Yeah, music also.
He loves music. He was a very fine poet.
Yeah.
Or Ibn Mukhlar was such a popular artist in those days that Khalifa has to call on Ibn Mukhlar, and he became the prime minister.
Great respect.
Great respect of Ibn Mukhlar. What happened with us? We don't know the name of Ibn Mukhlar. This is something very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. जी
ट्रेजिक है.
बहुत सख्त, बहुत बड़ा, और उसका आर्ट फॉर्म आपके घर पड़ा हुआ है. सो इब्न मुखला ने क्या किया? इब्न मुखला इतना गुनी आदमी था, उसने 6 खत ईजाद किए. दुनिया से एक खत नहीं निकलता, एक खत नहीं ईजाद करते. तो पहला खत जो उसने ईजाद किया इब्न मुखला ने, इट इज सुल्स. सुल्स के बिल्कुल करीब दूसरा खत है खत मुहक्कक. खत मुहक्कक के करीब है नस्ख, तौकी, रिक्का और रिहान. ये 6 बड़े खत इब्न मुखला ने ईजाद किए और कमाल ही कर दिया. कमाल ही कर दिया. लोगों से दुनिया में एक खत नहीं ईजाद होता, क्योंकि मैथमेटिशियन था, और खताती में कायदे और क़यूद है. कभी आप लोगों ने सोचा, उस्ताद साहब तो बता सकेंगे, कभी आप लोगों ने सोचा है कि दुनिया के जितने आर्ट हिस्टोरियंस हैं, सॉरी आई एम कन्वर्टिंग माई सेल्फ इन उर्दू, इफ यू आस्क समबडी व्हाट इज द बेस्ट form of art, the people will say calligraphy. Why calligraphy? Why not painting? Why not something else? Why calligraphy? Calligraphy की जो सबसे खूबसूरत बात है कि कायदे और क़यूद से आपको हटने नहीं देती, और जितना मुश्किल शरह में रह के ज़िंदगी गुजारना है, अगर आज उस्ताद मोहतरम खुश हैं या आज गमगीन है, दिल रो रहा है, ज़माने का हाल देख रहे हैं, आंखों में आंसू हैं, मगर वो ख़त के क़यूद से बाहर नहीं जाएंगे. हम लोग आर्टिस्ट, पेंटर्स, if I'm happy I'll make a happy painting, if I'm sad I'm going to make a sad painting, but not with the calligraphist. So what happened? इब्न मुखला ने ये 6 खत ईजाद किए, और इब्न मुखला को अरब, जिसको हम इजाज़ कहते थे, उसके अंदर इनका नाम कैसे लिया जाता था. अरब के अंदर मिसालें थी, वो कहते थे क्या तुम्हारे पास हकीम लुकमान सी हिकमत है, इब्राहिम अदम जैसे तुम जाहिद हो, क्या तुम हातिम तई जैसे सखी हो, और क्या इब्न मुखला जैसे गुनी हो? अगर हो तो फिर बात करो. तो इब्न मुखला का नाम हकीम लुकमान, हातिम ताई, इब्राहिम अदम, और सबसे बड़ा फनकार हमारा इब्न मुखला का नाम लिया जाता था. अब मैं आ रहा हूं इसके नस्ख के ऊपर. कुरान का हुक्म यह था कि यू आर गोइंग टू राइट द कुरान ऑन डियर स्किन, इट शुड बी इन कूफी and it should be approved by the council. बट साहब हुआ ऐसे कि इब्न मुखला ने नस्ख किया. नस्ख का मतलब काट देना, बदल देना, मनसूख कर देना, और भी इसके बेशुमार मीनिंग्स थे. नस्ख कर देना, फेर देना, पता नहीं इसमें कितने, अरब के अंदर तो इसमें कितने मीनिंग निकलते हैं. पर उन्होंने कूफी को नस्ख किया. तो कूफी को नस्ख किया और यहाँ पे तो एक बड़ी गर्मी शुरू हो गई, बड़ी लड़ाई पड़ गई. भाई व्हाट यू हैव डन, यू हैव चेंज द कूफी टू नस्ख, यू हैव नस्ख द कूफी, हाउ कैन यू डू दैट. कूफी को जब नस्ख किया,
Special naskh was invented by Ibn Mughla specially for Quran.
for Quran. So I'm so that Mr. Bhatt is helping me in my lecture. ये होता है बड़ों की रफाकत में बैठने का फ़ायदा. वो जो लुकमा देते हैं वो उसमें उससे आपकी जान पड़ जाती है. तो कूफी को जब नस्ख किया तो अरब दुनिया में तो हलचल मच गई, वो काउंसिल में हलचल मच गई. हर कारे दौड़े, सिपाही आए, इब्न मुखला को कैद कर लिया और उसके तमाम शागिर्दों को कैद कर लिया. जी, अब आप ये बात सुने, ये नहीं लिखते हैं और लिखा है, ये लिखी हुई कहानी आपको सुना रहा हूं कि तुम्हारी जुर्रत कैसे हुई ये कूफी को नस्ख करो और कुरान को तुम सफ़े पे लिखो, कागज़ पे लिख दो. तुम्हें पता है इसका नतीजा क्या है? ये अजमी पढ़ेंगे और अजमी गलत पढ़ेंगे. उनके हजूर ये सारे मेरे शागिर्द अजमी हैं, पढ़ा लीजिए. अगर कुरान में कोई फ़र्क है तो हमें बता दीजिए, हमारी आप गर्दन मार लें. तो जनाब ऐसा हुआ कि जलाद खड़े हुए. Oh, I'm sorry.
They said that why are you writing it in a font which now the Ajmis will read and they'll read it wrong. So they arrested all him and his students. He said all of our students are Ajmi and they can read the Quran. Just ask them.
They are not Hafiz of Quran. They can easily read the Quran. Okay. So okay, we are going to have examination of, if anybody reads wrong Quran, Ibn Mukhla, you are going to be beheaded.
You know, from here I am going to have a little bit permission from my...
So please go ahead, sir.
It's very, very interesting. You know, it was Abdul Malik bin Marwan's period. You know, and the Abdul Malik asked Hajjaj Yusuf, and he made the committee of the old Sahabas that please, the Ajmi cannot read the Quran, so put the haraka on this. And there was a, incredible kind of incident. Somebody went to Hajjaj bin Yusuf and he complained about Hazrat Sayyid bin Jubair, was very, companion of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, that when he do imamat in the mosque, he decide sometime Malik-e Yawmiddin, sometime Malik-e Yawmiddin. So Hajjaj bin Yusuf called him, and the meeting was there. And he said that I heard that you recite two different words, Malik-e Yawmiddin ya Malik-e Yawmiddin. He said to Hajjaj, I personally listened from the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. He recites both ways, right? He said, okay, if he recites both ways, can you let me know the maximum time what Holy Prophet recites? He said, Malik-e Yawmiddin. For this, he asked for death for Sayyid bin Jubair and murdered. That you know that the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, many times he recited Malik-e Yawmiddin, then why you divide the Ummah? Malik-e Yawmiddin ya Malik-e Yawmiddin. So he murdered. So it's a very strange kind of history of Arab world,
Well,
he was absolutely right, and
I have my own reservations about Hajjaj bin Yusuf, but I'm not going to speak after him, What he has explained, I have my reservations, but what he has explained, I it is also written in the books, in the history books. Well, so what happened when they start? Next, within 2-3 days, entire students were sitting there, and Jalads was there, Ibn Mukhla was sitting there on his gaddi, and they took the most weakest boy. Okay, start reading the Quran. If you are going to read a wrong Quran, Ibn Mukhla is going to be beheaded. So Alhamdulillah, with all these years hours, there was no difference of explanation and pronunciation of Quran. So they can't do anything about it. From there on, it was very difficultly accepted by the Arab Council. Okay, you can read Quran in Khat-e-Nasakh, but it should be proved by us. Okay, you prove it. You can read Quran in Khat-e-Nasakh, and from there on, entire Qurans were written by Ibn Mukhla and his students, and it is spreaded all over the world from there on. The year of Ibn Mukhla, he was born in 676 Hijrah, which is around 882 AD. So this is a small story about Ibn Mukhla. You have his design at your home, and whosoever is going to recite Quran, اللہ پاک اس کو سال ثواب ابن مخلا کا ضرور دیں گے کہ ہم اجمیوں پہ جو احسان کیا ابن مخلا نے، وہ قیامت تک ہم اس کا ادا نہیں کر سکتے. تو میرے بھائیوں، دوستو، ہماری بیٹیوں، ابن مخلا کو ضرور یاد رکھنا. ابن مخلا کے بعد میں اپنے ساتھ کچھ کتاب لایا ہوں. آپ کو سب سے پہلے کتاب دکھاؤں گا. میں کتاب دکھاؤں گا تعلیق کے. نص تو آپ کو اندازہ ہے نا، میں نص لایا نہیں، نص کا تو آپ کو اندازہ ہے سب کو کہ آپ کے اپنے گھر میں قرآن پڑھا ہوا ہے. تو پہلی میں بہت بہت شکریہ. پہلا میں جو آپ کو کتاب دکھانے لگا ہوں،
This is a very rare piece, and we are lucky that we are witnessing this.
یہ ہے تعلیق. نص، تعلیق کا مطلب تعلق سے بھی ہے، جوڑ دینے کے بھی ہے، اور جوائن ہینڈ رائٹنگ کی جاتی تھی، اور اب یہ متروک ہو گیا. اب تعلیق میں کوئی بھی کام نہیں کرتے. تو کہا جاتا ہے نسخ اور تعلیق کا حل نکلا تھا نستعلیق. بلکہ میں پڑھ رہا تھا، بڑے مزہ مجھے آیا. اس میں بھی بعد میں صداقت لگتی ہے. جو بزرگ کہتے ہیں مان لینی چاہیے، خام پر بیستا نہیں چاہیے. تعلیق کو نسخ کیا. تعلیق کو نسخ کیا تو نستعلیق بن گیا. تو اب یہ خط نہ لکھا جاتا ہے،
یہ نہیں،
اور کوئی بھی اس پہ کام نہیں کرتا.
Instead of this in Iran, they write شکستہ.
شکستہ پہ بھی بات کرتا ہوں جی، جب ہم اس پہ پہنچیں گے. ہاں، ان سب کو دکھائیے. شکستہ پہ بھی بات ہوتی ہے. جب پروین رقم صاحب کے اوپر آئیں گے تو علامہ اقبال کا میں ذکر چھیڑوں گا. سر اب وہ پہلا ہوتا ہے شکستہ پہ بات بعد میں کرتے ہیں. میں لایا نہیں شکستہ، میرے پاس بڑا خوبصورت خط ہے، کیونکہ میں نے کہا پتہ نہیں کتنا وقت ہے اور آپ لوگوں کے انٹرسٹ میں ہوگا کہ نہیں ہوگا، کیونکہ باتیں تو بہت ساری ہو سکتی ہیں. ہاں جی، کوئی بات.
This is from Mir Ali.
میر علی تبریزی، آپ سنا ہے؟
Inventor of نستعلیق.
کہا کیا جاتا ہے کہ ان کی بڑی خواہش تھی کہ اللہ پاک ان سے کوئی ایک خط ایجاد کروا دیں. کہتے تھے کہ آپ راتوں کو گڑگڑاتے تھے، تہجد پڑھتے تھے، روتے تھے، اور اللہ کے آگے دعا کرتے کہ یا پروردگار میرے ہاتھ سے کوئی ایک خط مجھ سے ایجاد کروا دیں. Invent one. یہ لکھا گیا کہ میر علی تبریزی ایک دن تہجد کی نماز پڑھ کے مصلی پیش ہو گئے. آپ کو خواب آیا خواب میں آپ کو زیارت ہوتی ہے حضرت علی علیہ السلام کی, اور حضرت علی علیہ السلام کی جب زیارت ہوتی ہے تو حضرت علی علیہ السلام سے گفتگو اپنی عرض رکھتے ہیں کہ مجھے حضور کوئی خط, تو انہوں نے ان کو خواب ہی میں کچھ جانوروں کی تصویریں دکھائی. بٹ صاحب مجھے
اس میں the Caliph Ali alayhi salam said to him that why don't you go to the sea and water and see the creature of the water and think about it, and then he saw the fish and everything, and then from there
Duck.
he created all this.
duck, then he shows him the sword, then he shows his lathi and so on. So this is the inspiration of Nastaliq by Mir Ali Tabrizi. Mir Ali کا جو دور تھا وہ
800 something.
870 AD کو ان کی وفات ہوئی ہے جی.
14th century, 14th or 15th century.
جی میں ہجری میں بتاتا ہوں 1330 اور ہی ڈائڈ ان 1405 AD.
1405
جی 1405 میں اس کی ڈیتھ ہوتی ہے عیسوی میں.
Yeah, he was in 700 something.
731
700, in 8th century. Yeah.
731 Hijri, which means 1330 AD. 14th century میں پہلی دفعہ نستعلیق ایجاد کرتے ہیں, اور وہ یہ ہمارے بابائے نستعلیق ہیں, ہمارے نستعلیق کے باپ ہیں, ہمارے نستعلیق کے استاد ہیں, اور ان سے نستعلیق شروع ہوئی, اور وہاں سے پھر یہی نستعلیق ایران میں کمال ہو گیا. ایران سے جاتی ہے ترک سے جاتی ہے سینٹرل ایشیا, اور پھر ہندوستان آتی ہے. ہندوستان والے بھی اس نستعلیق کے عاشق ہوتے ہیں. برائے مہربانی کان میری طرف بھی رکھیے. تو ایران والے اس ہندوستان بھی اس نستعلیق کے بہت بڑے عاشق ہوتے ہیں. نستعلیق جب رائج ہو جاتی ہے,
When he was basically from Tabriz, but when he invented Nastaliq, he was in Baghdad.
جی
Because Baghdad was the capital. So he lived there and worked there.
ان کے نام کے ساتھ کافی ملا میر علی, فقیر میر علی تبریزی, یہ ان کے نام کے ساتھ چلتے ہیں. یہ آپ کو ان کا اوریجنل کتاب دیکھ رہے ہیں, الحمدللہ.
A very rare piece.
It's a very rare piece. یہ صرف آپ لوگوں کے لیے, کیونکہ آپ لوگ نستعلیق کا,
We are really proud of you.
اور یہ صرف اور صرف بٹ صاحب کے لیے آیا جی, کیونکہ ہمارے بزرگ استاد, نہیں تو میں آپ لوگوں کو کہتا میرے پاس فقیر خانے آ جائیے, پاور پوائنٹ پہ دکھاتا اور کہتا وہاں پہ تشریف لے آئیے. سو میر علی تبریزی, میر علی, ان کی کیا تعریف کروں. یقین کریں کہ خاکم بدن, زبان, دل, ان کی تعریف جس نے نستعلیق ایجاد کر دی. نستعلیق ایسا خط ہے جو خطوں کی دلہن کے لایا. نستعلیق ایک ایسا خط ہے کہ جس میں کبھی کوئی لوچ نظر نہیں آیا. استاد کا لکھا ہوا, میرا نہ لکھا. تو یہ تو جناب میر علی کا ذکر آ گیا. اب یہ میں نے کچھ جو بڑے بڑے آرٹسٹوں کا ذکر کیا ہے, اس میں اب میں ذکر کر رہا ہوں جی آپ کو ایران کا ایک سب سے بڑا آرٹسٹ عماد الحسنی. Do you heard about Ahmad al-Hasni? Excuse me?
Ahmad al-Hasni?
Do you heard about Ahmad al-Hasni?
No, because they don't know the calligraphy.
Ahmad al-Hasni. You're not calligraphist. یہ خطات نہیں ہیں.
No, they are not calligraphers.
Okay.
They are artists.
Mir Ahmad. Mir Ahmad al-Hasni. Okay.
He is going to show you the original work of Mir Ahmad.
First of all, I am going to tell you the story about Mir Ahmad al-Hasni. Who was he? Lot of people don't know about him. It was the period of Shah Abbas.
Yeah.
And Shah Abbas need to write Shahnameh Firdausi. And when the protocol of Firdausi is like this, that when the king is going to write a Firdausi, he is going to invite the best artists from the country and give them, examination, and who's going to be first, and he'll be awarded to write the Shahnameh Firdausi. That's why Shahnameh Firdausi is the world's most expensive book. Mir Imadul Hasni won that competition. Mir Imadul Hasni was from the Sunni sect, and his contemporary, he was Raza, Ali Raza, from the same teacher. One was Imadul Hasni, the other was Ali Raza. Ali Raza was very close to Shah Tamhasib. Ali Raza thought that he's going to give me the Shahnameh Firdausi, but no doubt about it, Mir Imadul Hasni's workmanship was much better than Ali Raza. So honestly, they have given him the Shahnameh Firdausi. And you know what he has done? What happened to him? The king of Iran, he gave, let's say, I don't know the, the money, the amount, like 1,000 tumals to write the Shahnameh Firdausi. And it was, Mir Imadul Hasni thought it's an insult to him. Why is paying me? And he's offering me of my talent. Nobody can buy his talent. So he was very disappointed. So he received 1,000 tumals and went back. Year passed away. Ali Raza asked Shah Tamhasib, what do you know about Imadul Hasni? I hope he has finished the Shahnameh Firdausi. Oh yes, I just forget about that. So he was sent upon the people to ask him, what, Imadul Hasni, did you finish the Shahnameh Firdausi? And he replies, the amount he has given me, I have done the work. Okay, would you please show? So he has written 10 rubais of Shahnameh Firdausi. This is for 1,000 tumals, and you can take it and send me some more money so I can write some more. So when they came to the Darbar, the court, it was a big insult to Shah Tamhasib. And Ali Raza played a dirty game in it. So what happened? Next day, Shah Tamhasib sent again people from the court, go and ask him, tell him to return his money. So the people went there. They asked him, the king is asking his money to be returned. Okay, no problem. So he has given 10 rubais to his students. Go to bazaar and sell those rubais. So they tore the rubai from the paper and it was sold for 100 tumals. And they have collected 1,000 tumal and they returned the money.
Send the money to king, take your money.
Take your money.
Take your money and get lost.
Take your money back. So Imadul Hasni was sitting in his hujra, and when Shah Tamhasib knew about it, that his money has been returned by him and he has sold his rubais to bazaar, and it was very, very bad insult to the king. And you know what king said? He should be beheaded. So the next morning, Imadul Hasni was beheaded. Right in the bazaar, he was going to offer his Fajr prayers, and Scott met him near mosque, and he was beheaded, and his house was being burned.
And he doesn't have maqbare and shrine and anything. حتی بدون مقبره.
His maqbara is in a small mosque, and the king said, nobody is going to make his maqbara.
That's what you say.
Nobody is going to make his maqbara. And he was buried by one of his students. So, let's see the masterpiece of Imadul Hasni.
Yeah, see that. It's a rare.
So, I'll ask Mohsin to help me to show you around. So, this is Imadul Hasni. So, next what happened? I'm going to tell you another short story about a great master.
Rashid Dalmi.
Ji?
Rashid Dalmi.
Abdul Rashid Dalmi. Rashid is a very...
Yeah, I'm also Rashid.
So I've chosen few masters for you for this evening, and this is one of them.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
Abdul Rashid Dalmi. He was son-in-law of Imadul Hasni.
Yeah. Nephew or?
Nephew.
Nephew.
Nephew and son-in-law. Abdul Rashid Dalmi के बारे में किस्सा सुने जी. Abdul Rashid Dalmi was his nephew and his son-in-law of Imadul Hasni. So it was the period of Shah Jahan, and Shah Jahan was living in Lahore in those days. So he came all the way along from Iran with entire his family, and he wrote when he came to Lahore, he wanted to see Shah Jahan, and he wrote application to Shah Jahan.
Rubai something.
The application, a letter to Shah Jahan. And when Shah Jahan saw that letter, he don't know about who is Abdul Rashid Dalmi. So in that letter, he's explaining that I'm Gharibul Watan and I need your support. I'm an artist. Without he written his own name. So when Shah Jahan saw that beautiful application, he put that application on his eyes.
Call this man.
He said, go and bring this beautiful artist in front of him. So when he came over, Shah Jahan asked him, who are you? From where are you? So he narrated entire story of Imadul Hasni. I'm son-in-law of Imadul Hasni. I'm the nephew also. And his Nastaliq was such a strong Nastaliq. The Shah Jahan made him Mir Khatat of Mughal court.
Yeah.
You are so lucky. You are looking at the original application of Imadul
That's
Hasni.
right. That's this one. This one.
There are two more applications of Imadul Hasni. One in British Museum,
Yeah.
another
I have
in
seen that. I have seen
another in Fair Gallery. But who have seen the British Museum and Fair Gallery, they said this is the most authenticated application. So, Abdul Rashid Dalmi, he was such a great master that entire calligraphers of Hindustan, of India, they gathered around him. They wanted to learn from him. After his death, if some artist, he's not perfect in Nastaliq, the people says, go and Abdul Rashid Dalmi ka khatam ada karo. Unke liye, Sale Sawab ke liye, unke liye pad ke bhejo, that you should pray for him and ask for him.
Distribute food in his name so that
Distribute food in his name,
Barakah.
or read Quran for him if you need to. So this is the original application of Abdul Rashid Dahlemi. I can speak more about him, but I just want to finish up with Rahimullah also. اب میں نے جو آپ کو کتاب دکھا رہا ہوں یہ ماسٹرز کی کتاب ہیں. اب میں آپ کو رحیم اللہ, کیونکہ میں نے یہ بہت بڑی جمپ ہے, شاہ جہان پیریڈ سے لیٹر مغل پیریڈ میں آیا, تو اس میں بہت بڑے بڑے نام ہیں, بہت بڑے بڑے نام ہیں. اب ہم عبداللہ حسینی کو نہیں چھوڑ سکتے, ہم مشکین قلم کو نہیں چھوڑ سکتے, ہم میر پنجا کش کو نہیں چھوڑ سکتے, ہم محمد عاقل کو نہیں چھوڑ سکتے, ہم عنایت علی کو نہیں چھوڑ سکتے. بڑے بڑے نام ہیں, بڑے بڑے نام ہیں, ان کے بڑے بڑے کام ہیں. انفارچونیٹلی سب نہیں دکھا سکتا, پر میں نے
on their next trip then you visit his museum and house where all of these masters.
So میں نے جو اب آپ کو صرف چند چیزیں چند دکھائی ہیں, یہ نستعلیق کے حوالے سے اور یہ نستعلیق کے اساتذہ کے حوالے سے. اب میں آپ کو دکھاتا ہوں جی لیٹر مغل پیریڈ, رحیم اللہ. اب میں آپ کو دکھانے لگا ہوں دہلی کی نستعلیق کیا ہے. یہ آئے ایران, وہ دیکھیں گے وہ ایرانی نستعلیق ہے, اور جب دہلی میں نستعلیق آتی ہے جس طرح اردو اور مولانا بولی جاتی ہے, تو دہلی کی نستعلیق بھی ایک کھڑی اور بڑی باوقار نستعلیق ہے.
This is an example of Delhi Nastaliq. So now there is a change.
So you'll be looking at Rahimullah's beautiful nastaliq. He's written Alam Sharif in it. Who was Rahimullah? Rahimullah forefathers, they were in the court of Mughals, they were the Mughal painters. And Rahimullah was not interested in painting. One day what happened, his father gave him one vasli, okay, paint something on it. So he was not interested in painting. So what he has done, he's got a blade in his hand, he cut the vasli into half, he made 2 vaslis. So he went back to his father, कि Baba, you're mistaken, you're given 2 vaslis. Oh, how can I do that? So he returned and went back. Rahimullah was such a talented calligraphist, naturally very talented calligraphist. He was, as a young boy, one day what he has done, he has written one kita of Imad al-Hasni style and presented to his father. Somebody is selling, Baba, somebody is selling the Imad al-Hasni's piece of art, would you be interested to buy it? So when his father saw the beautiful calligraphy and such a beautifully done, nastaliq, he could not recognize that it's not done by him. He was such a great, naturally talented calligraphist. So his father bought it from him. He put his money in his pocket and ran away. So few days later, his father came to know about this story, that is not Imad al-Hasni, that is my son Rahimullah. So his father said, okay, don't paint, start doing your calligraphy. Rahimullah, it was later Mughal period, Rahimullah has done a beautiful workmanship on calligraphy. And by the grace of God, I've got the biggest collection of Rahimullah in my collection. And this is Delhi Nastaliq, different from Irani Nastaliq. So after Rahimullah, please. After Rahimullah, there is another great artist of Lahore, but he used to write in Delhi style, and he used to write in Irani style nastaliq, and his name was Imam Verdi. He was also 19th century. Imam Verdi. Verdi بھی لکھا جاتا ہے, Verdi بھی لکھا جاتا ہے,
Verdi بھی کہتے ہیں,
امام Verdi. یہ لاہور کے بہت بڑے, he was a very great لاہوری تھے, مگر ان کے نستعلیق میں لاہور کی کوئی چیز نہیں تھی, پر بہت ہی پکا ان کا خط. Verdi ان کا علاقہ تھا, پر یہ صدیوں سے یہیں رہ رہے تھے. تو یہ امام Verdi کے جو کتاب ہیں, he is buried very near to حضرت علی حجویری's مزار. ان کا مزار ان کے قریب ہی ایک چھوٹی سی جگہ پہ امام Verdi کا, اور اس مزار کے اندر جو خطاطی ہوئی ہے وہ دیکھنے والی ہے پتھر پہ. امام Verdi کے کچھ کتاب ہمارے امام باڑوں میں لگے ہوئے, بڑے خوبصورت. امام Verdi, no doubt, یہ بھی اپنی نستعلیق کے استادوں میں ان کا شمار ہوتا تھا, and he is one of that, Imam Verdi.
The first kurasa, for the students for Nastali was printed in 1870 something, and that was printed in London in 1875, and that was done by Imam Verdi. I have a copy of that.
یہ دیکھیے جی, اب اس پہ آ کے میں اپنی گفتگو کا ختم کروں گا. I'm sorry, میری باتیں لمبی ہو گئی, آپ بور ہی ہو گئے ہوں گے.
No, we love it.
تو
This is the last piece.
this is the last piece. This is a very serious piece, and یقین کریں, would you please believe me, Bhatt Sahab can speak better than me on this piece, because this piece is written by Abdul Majid Parveen Rakam, and he was the one who invented Lahori Nastaliq. What is the difference between Lahori Nastaliq and Delhi Nastaliq, or Lucknowi Nastaliq, and Kashmiri Nastaliq, and Irani Nastaliq? I'm sure Bhatt Sahab can explain better than me, but I'm not going to give you a technicalities of Lahori Nastaliq. That is the duty of Bhatt Sahab, to explain you what is Lahori Nastaliq. But I'm going to narrate a short story of Abdul Majid Parveen Rakam. This Lahori Nastaliq is the script of Pakistani Nastaliq. This Lahori Nastaliq is the script of Pakistani Nastaliq. This was 20s and 30s. Abdul Majid Parveen Rakam was born in 1901. In his very, very youth, he started inventing this beautiful Nastaliq and so on. So, Allama Iqbal, he requested him to write his poetry, Babi Jibril, as a calligraphist. So he started writing it, but he was a little bit slow. Allama Iqbal doesn't like it. And mind you, I'd like to tell you something very important of Allama Iqbal, but nobody has speak about it, that Allama Iqbal was a very fine calligraphist of Khat-e-Shikasta. Nobody has talked about it. He was a very fine, he knows everything about calligraphy, and he was himself a very fine artist of Khat-e-Shikasta, because he was a poet. Poet was entirely a different thing, but he was a very fine, and he knew. So when he gave this Babi Jibril to Abdul Majid Parveen Rakam Sahab, he started writing on the Lahori Nastaliq. Iqbal requested him, why don't you do Irani Nastaliq for himself? So he refuses to do it. ان کا جھگڑا ہو گیا چھوٹا سا, ذرا سن لیجیے جو میں نے پڑھا میں آپ کو, آپ اب یہ تصحیح کیجیے گا, آپ ضرور کیجیے گا, میں آپ سے سیکھنا ہے. ان کا تھوڑا سا جھگڑا ہو گیا, اس میں 3 باتیں ہمیں پتہ لگتی ہیں. ایک کو روپوں پہ جھگڑا ہو گیا کہ پورا صفحہ اور آدھے صفحے کے پیسے, کیونکہ یہ جھگڑا تھا. دوسرا تھا کہ یہ نستعلیق لاہوری لکھنا چاہتے تھے, وہ نستعلیق ان سے وہاں کی لکھوانا چاہتے تھے. یہ بہرحال جی یہ 3 باتیں ان کی لکھی ہیں. اور تیسرا ان کا تھا بہت سلو تھے, بہت سلولی لکھتے تھے. تو یہ ہمارے بزرگ ہیں کی نستعلیق, پاکستان کی نستعلیق, ہمارا خط, یہ ہمارے استاد ہیں. بٹ صاحب ہوں, ہمارے استاد صاحب ہوں, ہمارے یہ بھائی بہن سب ان کو فالو کرتے ہیں جب ہم لاہوری نستعلیق لکھتے ہیں. تو تھینک یو ویری مچ فار لسننگ ٹو می اینڈ مائی اسٹوریز, اینڈ آئی ہوپ یو انجوائڈ اٹ.